Hello, my name is David Ruben. I've been an attorney in the state of Maryland since 1991. I handle all sorts of cases. This video is going to be about a DUI, or what we call a DWI. If you've been charged with a DUI, you're in all likelihood going to need an attorney. You should have an attorney with you. If you've been charged with a DUI, then the first thing you need to do is set up a consultation with an attorney like me and go over what it is that you need to do in terms of putting yourself in the best position so that when you do go to court, you're going to be in the best position possible to either get the case dismissed or get the most lenient sentence possible. When I talk to somebody on the phone after they've had an initial DUI, I always ask, did you take a breath test or did you not take a breath test? Why is that important? Initially, it's important because we're going to talk about what's going to happen at the MVA hearing. If you took a breath test and you blew over a .15, you're going to get, you will have had your license taken from you if it's a Maryland license, and you're going to have a temporary license. And you're going to want to know what you need to do with that, how you request a hearing, what's going to happen if it is determined that you did in fact take a breath test or blow over a .15. Or if you refuse the test, what's going to happen? They're going to take your license from you. You're going to call. You're going to have 30 days, like with blowing over .15, to request a hearing. And you're going to want to know, and this is what I'm going to explain to you, or any DUI lawyer will explain to you, this is what's going to happen with the MVA. What a lawyer is going to explain to you, which most people don't understand, nor should they, because they haven't been in this kind of trouble before, is there are two separate phases of sort of punishment as a result of getting a DUI. One, MVA. Motor Vehicle Administration. We call that civil administrative penalties. When we all sign up for a driver's license in Maryland, we agree that if we get pulled over and we blow over .15, we're going to be subject to certain penalties with our driver's license, or if we refuse, certain other penalties. But we're entitled to have a hearing and get the most lenient penalty as possible. It might be ignition interlock. It might be a suspension for 270 days. They just recently changed the laws in October of 2016. It's called Noah's Law, and it increased the penalties for the MVA sanctions and some other sanctions as well. So you're going to want to talk about that and learn your rights and know whether or not you should request an MVA hearing and what you should do, and whether or not you should have an attorney with you at that hearing. The other part to this is the criminal part. It's a crime. It's traffic, but it's a crime, and you're going to have a court date. And if it's a DUI, driving under the influence, the maximum penalty is a year in jail and a $1,000 fine. If it's a first offense, that's not going to happen unless you were in an accident and somebody got hurt. You never know what can happen. But some lawyers are out there saying, oh my God, you have to pay me $3,000 because you got a DUI and you're looking at a year in jail. You should come to an attorney. You should pay money to have representation. But if it's a first offense and nobody was injured, you're not going to jail for a year. In fact, you're likely not going to jail at all, frankly, whether you have an attorney or not. We have in Maryland what's called probation before judgment. Most judges in the state of Maryland, for what we call routine, should never be routine DUI, but a routine first offense DUI, you're going to get a probation before judgment. So what is my job in that situation? When you come in, one, we're going to go over the facts and see if we can beat the case. Usually you can't beat the case. If any attorney tells you they can beat the case every time, they're lying to you. There are really, really good attorneys in Maryland with a lot of experience, and they do everything they can to beat the case for you, and that's a good thing. And I do the same thing. If we can beat it, we're going to prepare a defense. We're going to go to court. And we're going to try to convince the prosecutor or judge to get rid of the case. That usually doesn't happen in these kind of cases. Usually the police officers are doing their jobs correctly. You were driving, you were under the influence or impaired by alcohol, and they can prove their case. If they can't, get the case thrown out. That's our job. If they can, what is my job then? Well, my job is to put you in the best position possible when you go in front of a judge to get the most lenient sentences possible. So you can get this thing over with, put it behind you, not do it again, learn from your experience, and move on. So if we think you're going to be found guilty, we will recommend that you do an alcohol education class. Why? Well, one, from our perspective, because that's what judges want to see, and two, because it's probably a good idea. If you're not an alcoholic, hopefully you're not an alcoholic, and if you're not, and most people that get DUIs are not, then it would be nice to learn more about the effects of alcohol and how it affects your ability to drive, because on the night in question, you probably didn't use great judgment. It might have helped you. So you go to the alcohol education class. If you have a problem with alcohol, or if you blow really high, you're going to do what's called a treatment program. If it's a second or third offense, you might do an inpatient program. It depends. And our job is to put you in the best position saying, hey, this is where you're charged, these are what the judges do, this is what they want to hear, and this is what I need to be able to present to them. So your job is to go do these things so that when we go to court in 2 months or 3 months or 4 months, we're going to be in the best position possible, like I said, to get you out of this, least harm, lowest fines, shortest period of probation, put it behind you so that it never happens again.